That's right. If you ain't first, you're last. But not last.
Not last.
Last sucks.
Last.
If you're last, you totally suck.
Which I think ties really appropriately into what we're talking about tonight.
There you go. Hey, everybody. Welcome to Whiskey, Lead, and Steel, Feeling Short While You Wait, the official podcast of Aggressive Defensive Solutions. Here on the panel, we have future Governor of the Commonwealth of Virginia, the Honorable Lee Curling, Esquire.
The handler.
The handler, a.k.a. the adult supervision in the room. We have Commodore Jeremy Phillips of United States Navy. I don't know, what commander are you in? You're like...
Back Bay.
Yeah, you're Comnav Back Bay. Comnav Pokety.
There we go.
Comnav Pokety.
Comnav Intracoastal Waterways.
There you go.
Yeah,
ICW. The Commodore of the ICW. That's fucking cool. All right. And I'm Rick. So, we are talking tonight about some of the not frivolity really, but some of the shit going on thanks to the warming of the climate, because all the climate changers are all bent out of shape because of Hurricane Helen or Helena or whatever the fuck her name is, who came in and fucked up a bunch of stuff. So now, of course, Greta Thunberg's all bent out of shape. How dare you? She's an aggravating little troll of a human being. So this evening's podcast was not brought to you by, but it was lubricated with Maker's Mark. So, cheers.
So,
Go ahead, Lee.
So other than not being...
Put this back on the rails, man.
what an introduction to nothingness for a subject. No, so we're going to talk a little bit about what is prepping the 21st century look like? Or what should it look like?
Yeah.
Having multiple social media accounts. That way when you get banned.
When you get banned, you can go on to another one.
That strikes kind of close to home.
So,
It's not my fault you broke the rules.
Fuck them. That's a stupid fucking rule.
you cannot argue with Facebook after you broke a rule with Facebook. You cannot argue with them over it. Like, no, I don't think you're right. Yes, you absolutely broke a rule exactly the way it was written.
Stupid fucking rule.
All right. So
Fuck that guy.
You got to keep watching for a minute because apparently we're going to talk about this for him.
Yeah.
So Rick, this is what happens when you allow Rick to administer a page.
Should have known better.
Well, yeah, we should have known better. So it'll have been after this air or before this airs.
Yeah.
The Virginia Beach Police Department's shooting match is this coming weekend.
Yep. October the 5th.
And one of the things that they're doing is a raffle for a handgun. So what does Rick do? Hey, as a fundraiser for this law enforcement match, we're raffling this handgun.
In my defense, the name on the Facebook page is Arsenal Performance and Gunworks.
How dare you?
Custom gunwork stuff. It's in the name.
Yeah.
They should have saw it coming.
Well, I just saw a page that you shared it to us. Well.
Aggressive.
Okay. Aggressive defensive solutions.
Now,
you didn't see that one coming.
the point is, anyone on Facebook knows you can't offer guns for sale, trade, or giveaway, or anything else.
That's a stupid rule. In Facebook in America?
Doesn't matter.
America.
Yes.
America.
It is America, but it's a company. It's not the government. I know.
Because the government wouldn't be able to do it thanks to the Second Amendment of the Constitution and the First Amendment of the Constitution. But instead, some fucking neocon pogue fucking Jawa monkey. Somebody might get their feelings hurt by hearing about a gun. Well, then what they should do is sit in a tub full of fucking brine and fucking toughen up.
Not doing a good job at handling this.
You're not doing a good job handling this.
We might ought to not start drinking before we start podcasting. I'm just saying.
I don't know that I drank enough before this podcast for you to have been set off like this.
Well, I offered you an out, and you decided not to take it. Yeah.
There you go.
Yeah. So the hurricane came through, and it hit a place where typically hurricanes don't go, right? Mm-hmm. Up in the mountains of North Carolina, Tennessee, you see tornadoes and all kinds of other crazy shit there. You almost never see hurricanes. Mm-hmm. So the hurricanes came through, dumped all this rain, caused all this flooding, caused all this fucking destruction and all this stuff. Fortunately, I think the body count is still below 200. And people go, oh, that's a horrible number. Well, yeah, it's a high number, but it's nowhere near as high as it really could be.
Absolutely.
But the result of that is we have communities that, due to infrastructure destruction, are now completely isolated. Mm-hmm. And so that brings us up to, we were talking about, that brings us to the whole prepper thing, because depending on where you live and what you do and how you see the world, that typically has a lot to do with how you prep for what you're going to do. Mm-hmm. Most people who live in Florida don't prep for
snowstorms.
Yeah, blizzards and shit. So every now and again you run into that kind of thing. So from there, Jeremy, let's hear your thoughts on this.
Well, besides the redundant social media accounts, you get to the basics. I mean, sure, can there be another apocalyptic storm? What's the power outage going to look like? Is common 2 days after a hurricane, 5 days, a week, 14 days. Okay, what are you going to do in that time? How are you going to store food, things like that? Oh, I got a generator in my house. Cool. How long is that generator going to run on the fuel you got? Mm-hmm. A gallon per horsepower per hour, or whatever the estimation is. Okay, 5 gallon can ain't going to get you very far.
Yep.
Anyway, so just, I don't want to say be realistic about it, but be sensible about it. Maybe 500 gallons of gas isn't the answer, but everything in some form of moderation.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Yeah.
Not to steal. I know what you're thinking.
Oh no. I it's one of those things that I thought about earlier, and I happened to see some videos this morning on Facebook, which everybody's seen videos of the destruction that this happened out in the western part of the state. But it was interesting because there were a bunch of short videos, and it was younger girl. I'm going to say girl. I'm an old man, right? In her 20s, owns a campground out in the western part of North Carolina, and the first one was just it's all gone, right? And then I got sucked into the looking at kind of all the stuff that she had on the account for the campground, and you go back a week, and there's the TikTok-esque, hey, fall's coming. This is what it's going to look like in 6 weeks, and it's all of the red foliage of the leaves and everything. These guys are prepping for the busiest part of their season. Mm-hmm. Less than a week ago, life is grand, and and video of her restocking stuff in their camp store and just whatever. And then you watch the progression of these videos she's posted of going, hey, we've canceled reservations, we're going to have flooding, it's going to be bad. And they knew the storm was coming. But I think here's the key is, she's like, we knew the storm was coming that morning.
Yeah.
Right? And that night, they had moved people out of their lower campground because it's prone to some flooding. That night at 2 o'clock in the morning, the sheriff's department showed up in force to get people to evacuate. Said you have 30 minutes.
Get your shit
with your camper, without your camper, you're out of here. And watching the progression of this to the point that that entire campground was completely decimated. And we've seen a lot of the videos of mudslides going through towns and just taking entire towns out, and the loss of life is horrific no matter what.
Yeah.
Right. Whether it's one, whether it's 200, whether it becomes more.
Yeah.
But the key is there's a lot of areas. You look at Asheville. Asheville is completely cut off by road routes, right? And it's a big town.
Yeah.
You look, and if we go back earlier in the beginning of the 21st century, we had Katrina.
Yeah.
Right. And we can look at the damages there, and moving people into a sports arena that was not a figurative shit show, but a literal shit show, right? Yeah. Where it just was over capacity and just horrific. Yeah. And people were almost locked inside once they went in. Mm-hmm. And so the key is, when we talk about what is prepping in the 21st century, is what is the event you're prepping for?
Exactly.
And I joke, and when you get around folks in the gun community, there is the huge, there is the huge. Well, I'm stockpiling. I'm stockpiling. Brass and
copper, lead, and steel.
Copper, lead, and steel. Right. Because when it comes, I'm just going to go take what I want. Well, the reality is that the general breakdown, the complete and total societal breakdown, if that's what you're prepping for, that is less likely than a lot of these other events. Yeah. And when we look at what's happened out in the western part of North Carolina and eastern Tennessee, is those are existential threats. Yeah. Right. So if you're willing to say, I need to prep for this as an existential threat, or if I'm prepping for the Yellowstone volcano to blow up, as the climate changes, whether you believe it's man-made or whether you believe it's cyclical, it doesn't matter what you believe in, there is a change in climate. Storms are getting worse. The amount of destruction is happening at a greater pace, that these types of events are going to be more likely. So the question becomes, what are you prepping for? There you go. I've been on a soapbox for a minute, but
absolutely. But it makes sense.
Mm-hmm. But to Jeremy's point, right? When I was in Iraq, right, we had a hurricane come through in 2003, right? My neighborhood was without power for 14 days, yep. Right? Yep. But the community had power. Yeah. My sister was a mile away, had power. My street, what they do, because they're a community. The street in of itself is a community. They broke up and hey, they're cooking lobster for breakfast on the grill because hey, the freezer's thawing out.
Be cooked, yep.
Right? It's got to be cooked. Yep. So, building a community, I think, is a key part of prepping. But being prepared for that. How long? Right? Yeah. How long are you going to be isolated? How long are some of these towns out in the western part of Carolina going to be isolated?
Yeah. Mm-hmm. How long without prescription drugs, without fresh fruits and vegetables, without running water? Take your pick.
Yeah, and what is and I think that the key on that is that people need to. What is your plan for that? Right, and you brought up a good point, which was, hey, doesn't matter how much you stockpile if your house is floating away. There's a whole different one, right? There is the whole bug out bag is one thing, but you need more than just the bug out bag. What is your larger kit and those sorts of things.
Well, and it's like a lot of the things we say. If you know where the problem's going to be, don't fucking be there.
Don't be there, right? Mm-hmm.
Second after that, the one that I really like to rag on fucking people about, some goddamn physical fucking fitness. Hey, there's no roads out there, which means if you do want to go check on grandma friggin' 3 miles away, guess what? You're fucking putting on a pair of hiking boots and fucking humping it.
I read a news article, right, of a guy. He hiked 11 miles because he couldn't get a hold of his parents. And he hiked 11 miles through the woods to go check on his parents.
Yep.
And they were trapped in the house. All right. So his getting there was important because he got him out of the house.
But yeah, if there's no roads, your car's not going to get there. Your bike, okay, slightly more mobile, but in the end, I mean, hell, there's people delivering fucking supplies by horseback right now.
Mule trains. There's in fact, because I belong to several horse-related communities and stuff on that. There were several calls that went out and said, "Hey, if you have legitimate trail horses, not horses, not a show horse,
not a thoroughbred racehorse,
but legitimate trail horses, and you are a legitimate, capable rider, we need help. So we need search and rescue, and we need to pack in gear and pack in supplies and bring people out. But if you're going to do this, please contact one of the organizations that's here so we can coordinate your efforts. So you don't just show up someplace and start doing your own thing and nobody knows about you. Because number one, you're not going to maximize your efforts that way. But number two, what if something happens to you? The Cajun Navy. The Cajun Navy's in effect still, thank God. And that's an amazing thing. And I'm going to jump on a soapbox about this right now. So, 72 hours ago, there were people on Facebook ready to stab each other over their political views and who they thought the next president of the United States should be. And I guarantee you, today, some of the people on both sides of those fences have put themselves in harm's way in a community where they don't live to help people that they were arguing with 72 hours ago to do what needs to be done. And that's one of those moments, that's one of those things that, having been, I don't know that I've traveled the world as extensively as you two gentlemen, but I've certainly been around the globe once or twice. I think in my experience, that is one of the things that is extremely American. I'm sure the Brits, and I'm sure everybody does that to a degree. But the thing you got to remember, and folks don't think about this, I don't think hardly enough. If you go to Eastern Europe and you pay attention, you can go, oh, that's a Croatian. Oh, that's a Serbian. Because they kind of look a little different, right? You can go to Asia and you can go, well, Vietnamese people don't exactly look like Filipino people, don't exactly look like Korean people. What you can't really do is go, oh, well, that's what an American looks like. Because Americans look like everything. And Americans look like everybody. And Americans, I don't know that you can tell by what they look like, but I think you can certainly often tell by how they conduct themselves and how they act, especially when things have gone to shit. I really do think, and again, I'll get off my soapbox in a second, but I really do think that where American exceptionalism most is apparent is when things have gone bad and they don't bat their eyes at dropping their differences to do what they can to help other people. And it doesn't matter who the other people are. So, but yeah, so I mean, so to that end, and that's another one of those things, because I was talking to Reagan about the whole pack mule thing, and the person who had sent me the text said, hey, I don't know if you saw this. Well, if I had either of my police horses still here alive, I would have given very serious consideration to going, okay, well, Jeremy, you're running the match this weekend because I'm loading water and horses up on my trailer and I'm going down there to do what I can. Yeah. None of the horses that I have now are suitable for that kind of work. So here I am. But yeah.
Oh, that's because you run a retirement home for horses.
I really do.
Yes,
Yeah.
you do.
I really
You do. As hard as Rick is, he's not hard when it comes to horses.
Nah.
Oh, you have a horse? It needs someplace to go and it's old? Oh yeah, I'll take it. I'm not letting go to the glue factory.
So I'll beat you on that one.
Yeah.
The phone rings and I go, "Hi," and they go, "Hi." It's 9:00 at night, and I don't know you. My horse is sick, and I don't have a trailer. And somebody said you might be able to help me. Can you haul my horse 3 hours to the emergency vet? I was like,
Yeah.
text me the address where your horse is. I got to go hook up my trailer in the dark.
That's right.
And that's what I do.
Yeah. That's what you do.
Yeah, I might not come rescue a person, but I can rescue a horse.
But hey, you know what? Honestly, it goes to what you were saying before. It is interesting. I saw a video from the Virginia State Police. You know, and they're in another state. You know, rescuing people off of a flooded hospital with the National Guard from a different state, right? Coordinating, right? And it is the troubling times like these in which we are all Americans.
Yep.
We're all one people.
Yep.
It doesn't matter whether you're, you know, what color the skin is. It doesn't matter, you know, whether you have a blue or red sticker on your, you know, on your truck. It's
Yeah.
you're in trouble. You need help, and we're gonna go help.
Yep.
And I think that goes back to some of the other discussion with the prepping piece, right?
Yeah.
There was the whole survivalist. You know, we had a discussion before, the whole survivalist, you know, series, you know, that was on TV at one point. And there was a couple of things with that. It's done to sensationalize some of this on, obviously, right, to make good TV.
Yeah.
But there's one that is like, you know, I bought this compound out in the out here, wherever here is, and he's got some other guy coming out and stops the guy and points a gun at him and prones him out. And I'm like, you invited somebody out, and then you want to? No, that's not the way the world works.
That's being a
Right?
dick.
That's not the way the real world works, right? We're not living in Mad Max times, and the reality is, you know, if we end up with some type of total societal collapse, I just don't. There will be those people, but you know what? Those people will not be around long.
Nope. Unless you're part of a community, you know, it's hard to.
Society is what society is, and as brutal as we've had in the past with societies, the reality is societies exist to protect the weak. That really is, right? We build societies to make lives easier, which help protect the weak in the long run, right? Right? We're not a herd animal.
Except the Mongols. I don't know that Mongol society was all about protecting the weak.
But is that really society? It may be. I don't know. Could be. But anyway.
But yeah, you're
But to get back to it,
certainly
right?
Western society.
Right. I mean, you know,
Certainly one of the tenets of all
Civilization.
of Western civilization.
right. But civilization. When I say
Yeah.
society, but what grew into civilization, right? You know, civilization grew in a fashion, and then we would reorganize in some form of fashion.
Yeah.
Whether there is brutality and those types of things is one thing, but the idea of being the loner by yourself, you know, with a tin of, you know, Soviet era, you know, ammunition as your survival tool, and I just you know, that's not the best way to survive in the 21st century.
That's right.
Right, and that's not the bleeding heart side of me. That's the you know, that's the realist, right?
Yeah.
You know, if we want to survive, we survive better as a community.
Yeah.
You know,
Electric taping a scope to an SKS is not going to
Is
make you
not
an effective combatant.
Exactly.
Brandon Herrera proved it works up to 100 yards.
That's right.
You're probably better with the irons, but you know what? You know why we're having these storms nowadays?
Mm-hmm.
We don't do human sacrifice anymore. That's a tenet of society that we don't exercise anymore.
And maybe that's it. Maybe if we got back to
that John McLucky had phoned in on this one.
maybe if we got back to that, these storms would go away, right? So
when Mac watches this, Mac's gonna go, I told them they should sacrifice virgins. Absolutely.
You sure this is the best way to protect the weather? Shut up, trust the science.
trust the science. That's right. So
We had a drought last year. We didn't kill nobody. Just saying, statistically speaking. Yeah.
All right. Redundant social media accounts, matching green shirts.
yes,
Don't have a Bursa 1911.
Jesus fucking Christ. Yeah, that's a podcast in and of itself. I wonder if High Point's going to come out with a 1911 next. It's the same goddamn thing.
You know, if I ever win the lottery, frankly, your Christmas gifts are going to be fucking epic for a couple of years.
I will sign if that happens. I will sign you up for the Jeep a month club. Just to watch your wife throw rocks at you. Anyway, so don't buy a Bursa if you don't have to, and you never have to. Don't get in the white van with the free puppies written on the side of it. Don't think that you're going to survive in the dystopian future. Because I got a SKS and I got him, I'm going to be good. Because you're not. You're
What
just
if you
not.
got night vision?
Night vision is only good if you're going to hunt through your house naked but for a single sock, hunting Jojo the meth monkey who's eating your peanut butter so you can go to prison and or live under an overpass.
So scientifically, I figured that actually shoes versus socks actually make you feel more naked. Because if you put on-
Wingtips.
if you put on shoes, you're committed. You put on socks, you're like, yeah, I could probably put on pants. But once you put on shoes, you've committed to nakedness.
All right. So muck boots.
There you go. Naked with muck boots. There you go. So to bring back a finality of seriousness here.
Yeah.
No. So the destruction and what people have suffered and are suffering through right now, while we make light of a lot of things, we our hearts pour out to everybody that's fighting through things, and if you're out there, keep fighting the good fight.
Yep. And if you've decided to donate your own time, energy, and effort and put yourself in harm's way, thank you. You're the kind of people that we need more of. We really appreciate it.
And that is what makes America great.
Yep. All right. Be good. Be safe. We'll see you next time. Bursas. Bursa 1911.
Yeah, trying to be serious.
$1,100 for a fucking Bursa. All of the Bursas together in one place aren't worth $1,100 fucking dollars. Fuck them people.